Hello my friends and welcome once again to this Radio Gaming Tech video with myself and Marta. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. As always, I'm here with the latest news from the tech world from the last 24 or so hours as of the 13th of August. I will say that it's still extremely hot here, so I do apologise for any background noise coming from the window. It does need to stay open just for my personal comfort. Anyway, we're going to kick things off with some comments from Phil Spencer. So these comments came to us when Phil Spencer joined an Animal Crossing New Horizons talk show hosted by Gary Whitta. And there should be a VOD on the YouTube channel. I will link to his channel and you can find it there hopefully. But in the meantime, the folks over at WCCF Tech have actually helpfully compiled some of the more interesting tidbits from the confirmation. Now the first thing that Spencer discussed is some hints at some big Game Pass announcements which are coming soon. He said, quote, "I'd say the positive for us through the May showcase and the summer showcase and the July showcase has been the rise of importance for us in Game Pass. As we go out and talk to our customers, it's becoming a real decision maker for those both on our platform and people that are evaluating the Xbox Series X as a console for them. Our investment in Game Pass and that portfolio continues to be strong. We've got some more really great, strong announcements to come about things coming to Game Pass. What you'll see from us around the launch of the console, frankly, isn't going to change too much because you are going to hear a lot about the console and a lot about Game Pass and how we think those two things together are a real great value proposition for gamers going into the next generation." Now obviously one of the biggest disappointments for Xbox fans recently is of course the delay of Halo Infinite into 2021, and unsurprisingly Phil Spencer was not able to avoid that particular elephant, and he said, quote, "Let me just start by recognising the fans and the fact that it is a bummer. It is disappointing to people. It's disappointing to us. We were looking forward to the alignment of Halo Infinite and the Xbox Series X. In the end, I have to make the right decision. The strength of the Halo franchise, the health and ability of the team are things tracking towards the quality of where you want the game. I apologise to the fans because I never like to set up expectations and then not hit them, but I also believe we're making the right decision in the long run for both for both Xbox and Halo and our customers." Also, which I find really interesting, is that apparently he and Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios, as well as Bonnie Ross, the head of 343 Industries, did apparently consider a staggered release for Halo Infinite, but obviously ultimately they decided to go with a delay of the game. Now I'm not going to talk too much on this because obviously we have already put out a video on the Halo Infinite delay and talked at length about it, so I don't want to focus too much on it. I just want to very quickly say that I do think that it's always better to delay it if you feel the game is not ready. And there's also another thing to focus on here, what he said about the health of the team. That is also important, you know, given how much we've seen in the games press the last few months and last couple of years, to be fair, about crunch and the horrible conditions that sometimes these people have to work in to push out a product near the end. They're obviously trying to avoid that if they can, which is obviously good. You know, crunch does not sound like a fun time, to be honest. Anyway, we're going to move on from that to another thing about the Xbox and yet more rumours about the release date. So the rumours before this, just to kind of fill you in if you've missed something or having trouble keeping track of all the rumours lately, and I wouldn't blame you, the rumours before this were that we would potentially see the Xbox Series X launch on November the 5th. But now we have a new date of November the 6th, thanks to Tom Warren over on Twitter. So according to him, a tipster told him that the controllers are coming in this box with the image that you can see on screen saying, "Do not sell or display before November the 6th, 2020. So it does seem that early November is looking like the expected launch date window, whatever you want to call it, for the Xbox Series X and of course Lockhart. Whether or not we'll see Lockhart launch here as well, really tough to say. But obviously we should always wait for an official word from Microsoft, but it does seem to be the stars are aligning for an early November release date, but of course take it with the usual pinch of salt TM. Anyway, let's move on from the Xbox to the PlayStation 5. Now, we know a lot about the new controller for the PS5, the Dualsense, but one thing that has been a giant question mark over the controller, should I say, is the battery life. A lot of people, including myself to be honest, were a bit disappointed with the rather piddly battery life of the DualShock 4. It's the main downside to an otherwise good controller. As I said before, I did personally prefer the Xbox One controller just because it was more comfortable for me to hold, but the DualShock 4 was was pretty good. It's just obviously needed more battery life. But we have a tweet from Galaxy Rain 666, and it says, quote, hands-on PS5 controller, Dualsense 5, just got a short test on it. The battery capacity is 1560 mAh, much more than the PS4 one. Now, just to put this in some sort of context for you, in case you're not familiar with what that actually translates to, an increase of 56% over the 1000 mAh battery in the Dualshock 4. So, we'll obviously have to wait and see what this actually translates to in terms of real-time hours, but a 56 battery capacity boost over the Dualshock 4 is very, very promising. Now, kind of off topic, but in the same lane at least, Galaxy did also post some thoughts about the DualSense, saying that the buttons are more pleasant to press, and of course there are no lights on any of the buttons. And he also speculated that it may feature some sort of quick charge technology, but did stress that he had not tested how long it would take to get fully charged. I do apologise for the world's loudest bird out in the trees outside my house, but if I close the window, I will probably pass out from heat stroke. So, unfortunately, you're just going to have to deal with Mr. Tweety out there. Anyway, let's talk about the PS5's price next. Now, this time around, it comes from the GamesPeak reporter Jeff Grubb, and his name you should definitely be familiar with. He has been pretty on point about various things. Now, he was recently speaking on a podcast, the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, or BRAP, which actually Paul did a guest on a little while ago now, so you will find their podcast linked in the description below. And one of the things he said was, quote, I think they're going to do everything in their power to hit $500, but they're going to be losing money. I thought that the Xbox Series X was more expensive to make, but now talking to people, it sounds like the PS5 is more expensive and less powerful. Now, again, we should always wait for official word, blah, 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 and to be honest, a lot of speculation and leaks and so on have been pointing to the $400 to $500 range. Obviously, that is very, very pricey. I'm not trying to understate how expensive that is, but just given the specs of the machine, I will be shocked if it was any cheaper than, like, I don't know, $450. Let's just pull a number out of the air. Obviously, this is just speculation, but in my mind, it does kind of line up with what we'd expect. But, of course, as I said earlier in the video, we are expecting Sony to unveil the price, potentially at the rumoured August teardown, which we have, of course, leaked. We were the first person to leak that, at least according to our sources. And again, pinch of salt TM, there will be a teardown at some point at the end of this month. Again, just according to our sources. Now, let's finish off the video with a couple of gaming things, shall we? Let's go to some bad news for fans of Control. So, basically, if you already own the base version of the game and its expansions, you will not get a free upgrade to the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions of the game. So essentially what's going to happen is there's going to be a brand new Ultimate Edition package version of the game, which is going to be launching on PC on the 27th of August, and then Epic Games, PS4 and Xbox One on the 10th of September. Now, the Ultimate Edition is just the game and 2 expansions, that's it. But you will need this new version of the game to then get a free upgrade to the Ultimate Edition, which launches on PS5 and Xbox Series X a few months later. And this is not a rumour, no salt required or anything like that. This comes straight from the FAQ page from the publisher 505 Games. They said, quote, will Control Ultimate Edition give me access to Control on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5? We will offer a free next-gen digital upgrade for those who buy Control Ultimate Edition on PS4 and Xbox One. What if I purchased the original version of Control previously? The free upgrade path to Xbox Series X and PS5 version of Control is only available for Control Ultimate Edition. So basically, if you recently purchased the game or its DLCs, or if you were like some people and bought the game at launch because it looked really cool, and to be fair, it is a really good game. I actually still need to finish it and go back to it after I'm done with my 1 million things that I've got to play. You are pretty much SOL. You literally have to buy the game and its expansions again if you wish to play them for free on the Xbox Series X and PS5. So it's not really free then, is it? It's going to be £30, this Ultimate Edition, so that's one small caveat. That is not full price, £50 like sometimes PC games are these days. But I don't know, this just I don't know about this, guys. It just really feels like a smack in the face to anyone who supported this game at launch or in the months running up to this. Like, hey, you want to play this game on next-gen consoles with, you know, ray tracing and all of that? Sucks to be you, bitch. You can't. You have to play this new Ultimate Edition thing that we are going to charge you for again, even though you've already supported us once. So I don't like this, to be honest. This feels scummy. I'm just going to say like it is. This feels scummy. Really does. But, with all that said, let's end the video on a more positive note, or at least a potentially more positive note, with yet more rumours about Resident Evil 8. Now, this once again comes to us thanks to Dusk Golem over on Twitter, and they said, in response to a tweet that said something about, can't wait to pay $70 for next DLC-sized game like RE3 Remake, Dusk Golem said, RE3 is longer than a DLC piece and did include Resistance, though many like to neglect that as they personally don't care about it. However, if you're worried about really short RE games, you don't need to. Let's just say I have an inkling about what RE games are in dev right now. I'm only talking about RE8 right now, but people know that RE4 is also coming up at this point. RE8 will be the longest RE engine games to date, and without saying too much, the other stuff coming up should follow a similar trend. Now, it is important to note that Dusk Golem did say that this is the longest RE engine title to date. So that obviously means Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 7, and of course Resident Evil 3 Remake. Now, being longer than Resident Evil 3 Remake is not really hard, to be honest. That's one of the most shortest on-rails, most disappointing games I've experienced in my adult life. I don't... all this faff about Resistance is like, okay, and? Doesn't change that they cut out loads of the game for no reason. Anyway, I'm not going to go off and rant about Remake again. The point is that both of those were 10 hours for RE7 and RE2 was 8 to 9 hours-ish, depending on obviously how much time you have to take, etc. All of this is obviously dependent on playstyle, but roughly 8 to 9 hours you would spend for Resident Evil 2. So it seems that Resident Evil 8 is going to be longer than those still. And obviously I want a lengthy experience, I want a meaty experience, but I don't want a bloated experience, something that feels padded and long just for the sake of being long. That obviously isn't good either. So hopefully they've managed to get a good balance. I'm really looking forward to Resident Evil 8. It looks really promising. It looks very like RE7, which I loved. It was on my Game of the Year list for the year it came out, so really looking forward to it, and definitely pleased to see that it's not just going to be a flash in the pan. And they seem to be hinting, at least Dusk Golem is, sorry, should I say, that RE4 Remake is going to be significantly... it's going to be quite long as well, I suppose I should say. Which is good, because I'm genuinely worried about RE4 Remake. I just really hope that the issues that we saw with RE3 don't pop up with that game. Because, no. RE4 is one of my favourites. Just don't. Just don't mess with it, okay? Just don't. Thanks. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the support is highly appreciated. Do remember to like and subscribe if it hasn't done so already. Just help out a great deal. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.